Hey guys, today we're going to go over the top 5 things that new players need to know about Rocket League. So, if you've searched for Rocket League beginner tips, I'm sure you've noticed there are already a ton of videos on YouTube. I wanted to make this a little different though. This is more like a list of things that I wish someone would have told me when I started playing. This isn't a list of my favorite training packs, or least to most favorite mechanics. These things are more like a list of facts that you can see in the game today. Hopefully, by hearing these things, you'll have a better understanding about what's happening around you. So let's get into it. The first thing on my list is something that you've probably already heard. Nearly every tips video has it, but I think it's important enough to have here. Tip number 1 is that the default camera settings are garbage. This should be the first thing you change. The worst part about the default camera settings is how much it limits your view. Most camera settings look something like this. You can see a huge difference in your field of vision. Some players might think it's nice to see where exactly the ball is hitting the car, but the trade-off to your field of vision really isn't worth it. Most people use cameras similar to this. You can pretty much just Google your favorite pro player and you can just use their camera settings. Now, since Rocket League is a physics-based game, my next 2 tips are going to cover some of the physics that might be a little unintuitive. Tip 2 is that dodging doesn't change the elevation of your car. Okay, that can sound a little weird, but let me explain. If your car is going in a downwards trajectory, then dodging isn't going to make your car go downwards faster. It's actually going to do the opposite. This can be counterintuitive for new players, but it's how some advanced shots are performed. You'll find that dodges are kind of magical and are pretty much the main thing that really breaks the norm of what you'd expect in a physics-based game. Tip 3 is about the speed of your car, specifically its top speed. Supersonic is as fast as you can go. You'll know you're supersonic when you can see the trails behind your wheels. Once you see those, you can stop boosting. Your car isn't going to go any faster, so you might as well conserve your boost. You can remain supersonic as long as you keep driving a straight line or until you bump into something. All of the cars have the same top speed, and managing your boost becomes very important in higher levels of play. Okay, our next 2 tips focus on player trends. They might change in the future, but right now they're pretty established. Tip number 4 is that you need to use ball cam. This can be extremely uncomfortable for new players, and a lot of them like to sit in car cam like they're driving an actual racing game. But when you do that, you lose a lot of awareness of the field. A typical competitive player will be in ball cam about 70 or 80% of the time. They quickly toggle to car cam for a short time to orient their car on the field for a boost or just general awareness, and then quickly switch back to ball cam. Using ball cam can be extremely disorienting for new players, but it's an absolute must. Tip 5 is that there are no permanent goalies. This is something that every Rocket League player has wondered at some point. I mean, it's soccer, right? There's a goalie in soccer. You don't want to let an easily savable ball roll into your goal. These are all the right thoughts, but a full-time goalie isn't the solution. When you play goalie, you leave yourself open to being bumped or might not have enough momentum to stop a hard shot. Most games will require you to work together with your teammates to take turns being goalie. That's part of a normal rotation where you work together to get quick follow-up touches on the ball. I like to think of rotations like this. These workers are working together to get quick hits on the post, except instead of the post, say it's the ball, and instead of using hammers, they're using cars. Each worker is building momentum so that way when their teammate is out of the way, they're ready to hit the post. Now for the bonus tip that I promised. It's going to sound a little cheesy, but it's something that I think is often overlooked. It's that playing Rocket League is more fun with your friends. This is what I call the fun versus rank graph. Most players think it looks like this, where they're having more fun, they get better. And while this is kind of true, I think realistically it looks more like this. It is generally more fun to get better, but there are highs and lows in between. If you're doing this with friends, it looks more like this. Your lows are a little less low and your highs are a little bit more high. For Rocket League not being an RNG game, some crazy stuff can still happen. Having someone to laugh about it with can make the game really fun, whether you're winning or losing. So yeah, that wraps up my list. If this video wouldn't have taken so long, I would have thrown in a couple other tips, like how toppers don't affect the hitbox. There's a rule 1, you can't see messages between PC and console players. And if you put a penny in your tire tread and can see the top of Lincoln's head, then you might be due for new tires. Alright, I hope you learned something new. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and welcome to Rocket League.